Welcome to Don't Question My Stupidity Sports Edition. Today we check out what our favorite big uncles Shannon Sharpe and ChadOchocinco have to say about the Atlanta Falcons' new coach Raheem Morris. You know it's said to know if a team made a good hire, just listen to the player who played for him before has to say about him. It's not so much of what the coach did in the past as most coaches are getting a finished product and the player just run the X and O's. So check out X, formerly Twitter, and see what Jalen Ramsey had to say. Like and subscribe, and please leave a comment. Enjoy.
Atlanta hired Arthur Smith to replace him. Falcons fired Arthur Smith after 3, 7, and 10 seasons. Do you like the move? Because everybody thought that Coach Belichick was the front runner after he had interviewed twice with Falcons owner Arthur Blank. Raheem Morris is going to be the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
Right. I like the move. What you want to do is, when it comes to hiring head coaches, you want to hire coaches that resonate with their players. I think Bill Belichick, obviously his resume, it extends far beyond anything I could explain that we've all seen. We know what he does. We know what he's brought to the table, obviously during his tenure, his dynasty tenure with the New England Patriots. We've somewhat seen how that ended, obviously not having a adequate or competent quarterback to compete week in and week out. We've seen how that has gone. The hire of Raheem Morris, this is why it's a good thing. I never played for him. But the players that have played that are still active in the NFL today, when they saw this hiring, you could notice all their tweets. Notice all the things that they've said. Jalen Ramsey being one of them. Arguably one of the greatest cornerbacks to ever play. Giving the high five and the signal that that defense, Jesse Bates and those boys, are getting the good one.
Right.
That lets you know whether the hire was good or not. Not how the people on the outside think. Not how the coaches around the NFL think, but the players that have to deal with these coaches on a day-to-day basis, on the inside of that building. How do they feel about them? I think about it, this hire almost equivalent to that of Antonio Pierce with Oakland, and understanding how important he is in being able to not just be a leader of men, but a coach that the players respect and will run through a fucking wall for. And I think that's what Raheem Morris is for the Atlanta Falcons. So I like the hire. I like it a lot.
I like the hire also. You're talking about somebody that's very familiar with the NFC South. He coached in Tampa. Remember, he had a tenure in Tampa for a period of time, even though that was a while ago, as the DC for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think he was the interim head coach when John Gruden got let go. If I'm not mistaken, but I know he spent some time in Tampa. I know him a little bit, spoke to him a couple of times. I really like him. I think he's paid his dues. I think he's put the requisite amount of time in and given an opportunity to be a head coach again in this league. I think the other times were interim. So I really like Raheem. Wasn't he in Tampa? Didn't he take over for John Gruden and have a couple of years in Tampa? If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the case. But he's definitely put the time in, won the Super Bowl as the DC at the Rams, coached Aaron Donald, coached Jalen Ramsey, coached B-Wags. He was the head coach in Tampa from 09 to 11. Very familiar with with this division. Like I said, coached in Tampa. Now he was the DC. He was interim coach. And when Dan Quinn got fired, so I like this move from Arthur Blank. I like this guy. I like Raheem getting another opportunity to be a head coach. Like I said, and plus ATL, y'all know how they get down. You know, they talk about DC Chocolate City. They can't mess with ATL. Yeah, we black everything, black mayor. You know what I'm saying? That's how we put it down.
But I think
go ahead.
I think we have one issue that needs to be resolved, and you know this is a quarterback league. In order to compete, even in the NFC South, you're going to need a quarterback to compete with the likes of Drew Brees, obviously Bryce.
Not Drew Brees. Drew Brees not.
I'm talking about Drew Brees. Derek Carr, man.
Yeah.
I'm
well, they didn't take much to beat him. Baker Mayfield just had a really good year.
Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, brother Bryce. Brother Bryce, and you got to get your quarterback situation situated out. I think that should be the first order of business. But for Mr. Morris is to find out what you're going to do in that area. If I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking I'm not saying I'm Cleo, But what makes the most sense to me is going to get brother Justin Fields, knowing that the Bears are probably going to pick Caleb Williams, with that number 1 pick.
You like that pick now. Oh, now you like that pick to Atlanta.
I'm just saying you're not going to pass on something like that. You're not going to pass on something like that. So Justin Fields is a great quarterback, and you get Justin Fields, and you add him with Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and the rest of those fellas you got to work with. I think they got something special to deal with, and Jesse Bates and those boys on defense are going to be all right.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I really like Raheem. Like I said, I think he's great. I think he'll resonate. Like you said, I think he'll resonate with today's player.
Yeah.
But when you look at Coach Belichick, you look at his resume and what he's done. Am I a little surprised? Yes. For the simple fact, I mean, he does have 6 Super Bowls. He did have a winning record from 2001 all the way to 19?
Right.
That was it 2019, 2020. I think even after the last year Tom left, 2019. I think Tom's last year was 2019. And so basically from 2001 until 2019, they had a winning record. And he did a decent job. Now, the last couple of years, it wasn't his finest. I don't think it was his finest team building job. I think that's
defensively they were
but
good.
As a team, I'm talking about drafting players and putting them and putting them in position. I don't think that his finest, but we saw that people automatically assume, well, Tom Brady's in a free agent and everybody's going to get off their quarterback to get Tom Brady. And we saw that didn't happen. Only a few teams really wanted Tom Brady. What we're finding out, though, as great as Coach Belichick's resume is, maybe some of the teams are thinking, you're not bringing Tom with you. And we see a lot of your success was tied to him. Now, I'm not saying that's from me out on the outside, Ocho, looking in, but it seems to me because nobody else has been able to lead New England and have success no matter where they went. It didn't matter where you went to Cleveland, you went to the Raiders, you went to Denver, you went to wherever. Now, Bill O'Brien did have some success in Houston, but not the level of he's the only one. Because Charlie Weiss went to Notre Dame and didn't have success. I think he also went to Kansas and he didn't have success. So with the exception of Bill O'Brien, none of the other assistants were able to have the level of success but we saw a lot of guys. Ray Lewis got a lot of defensive coaches' jobs. Brett Favre got a lot of offensive coordinators' jobs. And Andy was one of those guys. John Gruden was one of those guys. Dick Geron was one of those guys. There are a lot of guys that got Mooch, Steve Mariucci was there.
Hey, that's amazing when you think about it. Depending on what coaching tree you're from and depending on what defense you might have been a part of, that the players are so good that you may have coached, the skill and the talent is already there once you get to the NFL level.
Yeah.
The good thing for the coaches is the fact that you're actually coaching players that are already well developed. So what you're getting is the finished product. You're getting the finished product of players, and just being associated with them or being associated with, you being their coach at that specific position, you automatically get jobs down the line as if you're responsible for the talent you're actually coaching.
Look at Ray Lewis.
It's really just a finished product. All they're doing is executing the X's and O's. That's all.
Hey,
it's funny how that works.
Ray, look at the guys that Ray, the guy in Cincinnati that was your coach.
Marvin
Lewis. You got Rex Ryan. You got Jack Del Rio. You got Mike Nolan. You got Mike Singletary. You got Mike Smith. That's 6 guys that coach was the D coordinator or the linebackers coach under when Ray Lewis was in Baltimore. That got you know what I live, and this is the price of the game. Marvin Lewis was the DC. Jack Del Rio was the linebackers coach. Rex Ryan was the D-line coach. Mike Smith was there. Then Mike Nolan came. All those guys was there on one side. Know what I live, and this is the price of the game. Real as they is till they put me up in my grave.